Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to Best Bites Forever. Today I am making this green chili and beef stew. It is going to be absolutely delicious. I can't wait for you to try it, so let's cook. The first thing that I want to do is roast my chili. So what I have here is a Poblano chili. You can also use Anaheim chilies or any kind that you love really for this, but I think the Poblanos make a really great addition to this stew. So what I'm going to do is put it on top of a sheet pan lined with foil just for easy cleanup, right? And I'm going to put this under the broiler in my oven on the very top shelf of the oven so that it's just underneath the broiler. As it cooks, I'm going to use my tongs and rotate it, and what I'm looking for is a really nice dark charred skin. So under the broiler this goes. Now that I have that in the oven, I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes because my broiler is not quite all the way hot. So the first time is going to be about 2 minutes, and then I'm probably going to rotate it about every minute. When the skin on your Poblano looks like this, it is time to give it a turn. Put it back into the oven until it looks like that all the way around. While I have my Poblano in there roasting, I'm going to go ahead and chop up the beef. So what I have here is a boneless chuck roast, and this happens to be Angus. This is a super flavorful piece of meat, however it is also a really tough piece of meat. So the way that we're going to cook it today is by braising it. And braising is when you incorporate two different cooking methods. First we're going to sear it in a pan, and then we're going to cook it in a liquid to get it really nice and tender. This is going to take a few hours, but it is going to be worth it. So I'm just going to cut up my meat into bite-sized pieces. I'm also going to trim away any of these like really large pieces of fat. I don't really need those in there. So I'm just going to kind of put my knife under them, work with my blade away from me, and then this way. And those are just going to go off to the side. We want to make sure that it's the size that can go onto a serving spoon so that when people are eating this, they're just getting bite-sized pieces, right? Enough that can go onto your spoon. So you can see here that my Poblano is beautiful and very charred all the way around. I'm going to put this, hang on, I'm going to show you. I have a little bowl here setting to the side, just like this, and I have some plastic wrap ready to go. I want to trap that steam that's coming off of the pepper because that's going to help the peel come right off. We're just going to put this over to the side for about 10 minutes. Now that I have my beef all chopped up, I'm going to put that over to the side. And I'm going to chop up 2 small white onions along with 2 garlic cloves. The quickest way to mince up garlic is to take off that little end piece and then use the back side of your knife, not the sharp side, the back side. Put it all the way up against the edge of your cutting board and go down it with the back side, like so. That kind of crushes it a bit. Put it all into a nice pile because I have both of my cloves here, and just run your knife through it one more time. And there we have beautifully minced garlic in just a few seconds. Okay, so now that I have my 2 onions and garlic cloves chopped, I'm going to move on to my Poblano pepper, and here it is. It's been hanging out inside of this bowl covered in the plastic wrap, so you can see how easily this peel just comes right off of there. It is still a little bit hot, but I'm wearing gloves, so it's not too bad. If you don't have gloves, you may want to wait a few more minutes before you start peeling this, just until it's nice and cool and easier to handle. I'm going to get as much of this stuff off of the outside as I can. This is pretty clean right now. And then I'm just going to kind of grab a hold of the stem and pull it so that the seeds are going into my bowl like that. The seeds tend to have a little bit of a bitter flavor, so I want to get as many of them off of there as I possibly can. I just want to cut this first into strips, so I'm going to stack it like this. Cut it into strips going this way. Give it a little turn, and then cut it going this direction. I'm going to set this over to the side. I do want to tell you too that you can do all of this chopping while you're searing your meat, but because I'm filming and I have to move my camera around, it was just quicker for me to do all my chopping first. But definitely go ahead, feel free to start searing your meat and then come back over here and chop your onions and whatnot. So in this pan, I'm going to start off with a couple of tablespoons of canola oil. And I want to get it nice and hot. While I'm waiting for my pan to heat up, I'm going to go ahead and season my meat with a little bit of freshly ground black pepper, as well as some kosher salt. Give it a nice little sprinkle and toss it around so that it's nice and evenly coated. Now that my oil is nice and hot, I'm going to go ahead and start adding in my beef. I'm trying to keep it kind of separate because I don't want it to steam, I want it to brown, and any kind of steam is going to inhibit the browning. For that same reason, I'm going to be doing this in small batches, probably 2 to 3 batches, and I have a total of, well, I started off with 1.5 pounds of this meat, so after I took off the fat and everything, I probably have 1.25 pounds of meat. But again, I don't want to overcrowd my pan because I don't want steamed beef. I want beautiful brown seared meat. So that's about all I'm going to put in there for now. I don't want my oil to start smoking. If it's smoking, it's too hot. You want to turn the heat down, but you do want a nice sizzle going. So we're just going to kind of babysit this. We're going to brown it. We don't need to cook it all the way through right now because we're going to finish cooking it in the stew. So as it's searing, I'm just going to go ahead and flip it. You can see that really beautiful brown color that I got on there already. And that is exactly what I'm looking for. That's going to add a ton of flavor to this dish. So this last bit of meat is coming out of my pan and it is absolutely beautiful. You see the color on there? That is what you are looking for. I'll get this bit out. And I'm just putting this to the side in a bowl for now. And right into this very same pan, this is my onions and garlic that we chopped up earlier. And I want to hit that up with some salt, of course. We want to salt in every layer while we're cooking. Give that a nice stir, hit it up with some black pepper. Very nice. I'm going to cook these around until they are translucent. Alright, these onions are looking fantastic, so I want to go ahead and deglaze all of the little bits on the bottom of my pan. And to do that, I just used one of these little shotties of tequila. I'm going to let that cook down for just a few seconds, just to kind of get rid of the excess liquid. And then I'm adding those green chilies in. Oh, that smells good. Tequila. About a tablespoon of cumin is going in. And then a can, and this is a 14.5 ounce can of diced tomatoes along with the juice. And now I'm ready to add my meat back in. So here's that. You're going to go ahead and add whatever juice has accumulated in there as well. Oh my goodness. I also made a last minute decision to add in about 3/4 teaspoon of coriander. And now I'm going to add in enough water to completely cover everything, maybe even just a little bit above that, because we are going to simmer this. Simmer, not boil, for 3 hours. I just want to give it a nice little stir. And then I'm pretty much going to leave it alone, although I will be checking on it about every 20 minutes-ish just to make sure I don't need to add any more water and to give it a little stir. And here we are with our lovely stew 3 hours-ish later. It is looking absolutely fabulous and it is smelling even better. So at this point I'm going to go ahead and add some pinto beans, which I have drained and rinsed. These are from a can. If you want to use dry, then you want to go ahead and add those way back at the beginning when we very first started simmering this. Go ahead and stir your beans in, and I'm going to let this cool and it will be ready to serve. I did make some cornbread also to go on the side, which is going to be amazing with it. Make sure that you check it for seasonings as well, salt and pepper, and make any adjustments before serving. And there you go. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by today. I'm so glad that you did. I hope that you absolutely love this recipe. I can't wait for you to give it a try, and I will see you in the next video. Happy cooking, everyone.
BestBitesForever.com